Hi everyone, my name's Jenny. I am a fashion and lifestyle YouTuber here on YouTube, and today I want to talk to you about how I moved to New York City by myself at age 23. So I feel like your 20s is a time that a lot of people get sick of where their life is, sick of the same town they've been in, all of that, and it's a really common time for people to uproot and try new things, and that's exactly what I did. I moved here about a month and a half ago and have been loving everything about this change. So today I wanted to talk to you about 6 things I did that helped me prepare for this move and that might help you prepare too. So thinking back to about a year and a half ago from this point, I started, considering that I might want to move to New York City. I've always been interested in fashion and, wasn't really sure where exactly my career was going to go, and, the thought of the big city and all the opportunity and all of that just was very appealing to me. So I started considering this about a year and a half ago. And my first tip for you, tip number 1, is to get clear on your why. What is your reason for wanting to move? Is it for career opportunities? Is it for a change of scene? Is it for, this or that? Your whys can be all over the place, but you need to have a why. Your why can't just be, oh, I just want to move. That's not good enough, because if you don't have a real reason for moving, don't go through the hassles that come along with moving. It's not worth it. So tip number 1, get clear on your why. My why was that I wanted to give myself all of the opportunities and be open to all of the opportunities that this city has for me. Like I said, I wanted a career in the fashion industry, and if I'm gonna have that, New York City is the place to be. So that was my main why, and deep down I've always been a city girl and have wanted to live in a big city my whole life. I'm from a really small town in the Midwest and just needed that change and to allow myself the opportunities that would come with moving. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is plan ahead. Do not make the decision overnight. Don't go to bed one night thinking, I want to move 2,000 miles across the country just for the fun of it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't book your plane ticket. Don't do any of that. You need to plan ahead, because a move of that size, it doesn't even have to be a big move. Any move, you need to be strategic about it, and we'll get to that point a little later too, but make sure to plan ahead. That kind of goes hand in hand with your why. Why are you wanting to do this? Make sure you plan for it and take those whys into consideration. My third tip, and this one I swear by this for life, for, not just moving, just for anything in life. Make a checklist. There are so many things that come along with moving and, planning and all of that. Make a checklist. What I did when I was preparing for this move and planning for it and everything, anytime an idea would pop into my head, I would make a note of it on my notes app on my phone. It's so easy. Just keep a running list of all of the things you need to do. You need to cancel your utilities where you're living now. You need to possibly sell your car. Like I had to do that. I had to sell my car, and thus I had to sell or cancel my insurance. There are just so many things that come along with moving. So keep a checklist. You're going to thank yourself, and it's such a satisfying feeling being able to check things off, because that means you're one step closer to getting to where you want to be. So keep a checklist. Tip number 4, be strategic. I had mentioned this a little earlier, and this kind of goes hand in hand with planning and getting clear on your whys, whatever, but be strategic. Know what time of the year you want to move. If you are moving for a job, maybe summer, like the May, June, July time isn't the best time to move because that's when all of the graduates are also looking for jobs. You also don't typically want to move in the dead of winter just due to it being freezing, you know, depending on where you're moving. If you're moving somewhere warm, that doesn't matter. But that just goes to show you need to be strategic about the plan you have. You know, it's all gonna depend on where you're wanting to move, for what reasons, all of that. So get strategic. Tip number 5, do as much as you can remotely. This saved my ass when it came to this move. I had been planning and I had been thinking and I had been trying to get strategic about how I wanted to move. And with my strategy, I wanted to find an apartment before I got here. And so New York is a tough place to do that. Apartment turnover is so high here because people are coming in and out of the city on a daily basis, like so many people. And so I had really one of two options. I could either find a lease online and rent something sight unseen, which is eventually what I did, or I could book an Airbnb for a week or two and apartment hunt once I got here. And for me, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to use that first week or two to find a job, and I'll touch on that in a second too. But I wanted to use that time to find a job. And for me, the 2 weeks or whatever that I would spend looking for an apartment was just going to be too much time to devote to that. So I researched the hell out of apartments here that I could sign on while I was still in the Midwest. And do your research. I ended up signing with a co-living apartment, which if you don't know what that is, Google it. It's really cool. It's a very up and coming thing in bigger cities. So Google that. It's a great option if you are thinking of moving to a bigger city from a small town, or if you're like me and don't want to devote the time to apartment hunting once you get there, whatever your reason may be, that's a good option. But as I said, I wanted to job hunt when I got here, which brings us to the with no job part of the title. So as I said, I started thinking about this plan, this move about a year and a half before I actually made the move. And I applied to hundreds of jobs. I'm not exaggerating, hundreds. And what I found in doing so is that for most careers, I would vouch to say, most careers want people that are already at the location. At least in my case, since New York is the fashion capital of the country, maybe even the world, some would argue, they aren't going to hire people that aren't here because they have such a selection of people that are already in the city and ready to start immediately, this or that, whatever. So unless you have a killer background and, you know, are just so stand out in this field and an exceptional candidate, they aren't even gonna consider your application. Trust me, I've been there. I put in so many hours of work into applications and updating my LinkedIn and this and that and whatever before I got here, and it was to no avail. And let me tell you, the second day I was here, so 2 days after I moved, I had an interview at one of the biggest fashion companies in the world, and I got it. And so that brings me to point number 6. Point number 6 is to trust yourself. You need to believe that you can do it. You need to believe that whatever your reason is for moving is good enough. For me, as I said, my reason was I wanted a career in the fashion industry, and so it was a giant leap of faith moving here without a job. I was terrified. I had been strategic and saved up plenty of money that I would have about 3 months that I could live off of while I was here. And my plan was, if during that 3-month time span I didn't find a job, I was gonna have to move back. And so that was a big motivator for me to get a job and to really just put my all into finding something and finding something to support myself. And I trusted myself, and 2 days after I got here, I had an interview, got a call the next day that I had landed the job. So trust yourself. I'm a big believer in manifestation and being able to control your reality. And I was able to manifest all of this. My vision board for the year was all centered around New York City. And, you know, it's so cool that within 6 months, my reality shifted completely, and every single thing on my vision board had come true. So trust yourself, know that you can do this, and put in all the effort, and you're gonna make it. It's, you know, it's totally worth it. I am so happy that I moved here and cannot wait to see what the rest of this journey holds. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about my move or are nervous for an upcoming move for yourself, let me know in the comments. I'd love to chat with you guys. And so I will see you all in my next video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, and I'll see you later. Bye.